أيها believe في Allah is truly justified and die only in a state of Islam, die only as Muslims. My dear brothers, in a lot of our gatherings and assemblies, we find people speaking about success and successful people, about success and successful people. And usually the discussion revolves around worldly success. That's the common talk, or the common discussions. Person's succeeded in his studies, in his job, in his business, with his children, with his family, etc. Usually worldly success that these discussions revolve around. Many, unfortunately, are unmindful and oblivious to what true success is, in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah, in accordance with our Shara. True success, from the Shara's perspective, is having salvation, being saved from that which you fear, and attaining that which you desire. And there's nothing that a believer fears after Allah more so than the hellfire. And there is nothing that a believer desires after Allah's pleasure more so than paradise. And this is the reality that Allah puts to us in His holy book. فَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةِ فَقَدْ فَازَ. He who is saved from the hellfire and enters paradise has truly succeeded. That is the true success. That is the true success. A person could lead a low life. He could be a garbage cleaner. He could be a shepherd, a carpenter, a mechanic, and he may be amongst the people of paradise due to him taking the means to enter in paradise. And a person could be a professor, a doctor, a dentist, an engineer, and he could be from amongst the people of the hellfire due to him not taking the means to enter paradise and the means to seek Allah's pleasure. فَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةِ فَقَدْ فَازَ. He who is pushed away, saved from the hellfire, and enters paradise has truly succeeded. So that is the true success. And that is what every believer will eventually face. You will face this reality on the Day of Judgment. As the Prophet ﷺ informs us about the bridge that will be put above the hellfire. يوضع الجسر فوق جهنم فيقول الرسل اللهم سلم سلم فيقال يا رسول الله ما الجسر؟ قال ضحض مذلة فيه خطاطيف وكلاليب وحسك فيمر المؤمنين عليه فمنهم من يمر كطرف عين ومنهم من يمر كالبرق ومنهم من يمر كالريح ومنهم من يمر راكدا جريا ومنهم من يمر مشيا ومنهم من يمر زحفا. فمنهم ناج مسلم ومنهم مخدوش مرسل ومنهم مقدوس في نار جهنم والعياذ بالله. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam informs us of this reality that each and every one of us will walk above the bridge that will be placed on top of the hellfire, above the hellfire. Prophet ﷺ says when that bridge is placed above the hellfire, the prophets and the messengers will say, "Oh Allah, save us, oh Allah, save us, oh Allah, save us." These are the prophets and the messengers. They said, "What is this bridge, O Prophet of Allah?" In some narrations, this bridge is thinner than a hair and more sharper than a sword. What is this bridge, O Prophet of Allah? He said, it is a bridge that is placed above the hellfire. It is a bridge that is placed above the hellfire. And it has the following. It has tongues, thorns, hooks for the believers walk on it. Some will pass this bridge in a blink of an eye due to their iman and actions, righteous deeds. Some will pass this bridge like lightning, and some like the wind, and some like good, strong horses and camels, thoroughbred horses and camels. And some will be running on this bridge, and some will be walking, and some will be crawling. Then the Prophet ﷺ informs of the three categories on this bridge. He says, the first category will be saved without any injury or harm. The second category will be scorched by the fire and scratched by the hooks and thorns and tongues. They will be harmed and wounded, but they will be let free and they will make it. That's the second category. And the third category, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, will drop on its face in the hellfire. We seek refuge in Allah from the hellfire. This hellfire, in some narrations, to get to the bottom of it, it takes 70 years to get to the bottom of it. If you are flowing freely, free flow, it will take you 70 years to reach its bottom. For these are the three categories. Contemplate on this day, on this station, that each and every one of you will approach. Where will you be? What state will you be in? Which of the categories, these three categories of people, will you be amongst? If one of you asks, what are the qualities of those who will be saved on this bridge? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala summarizes the qualities of those who will be successful and victorious and who will pass this bridge in one verse in the Quran. Summarize it for you. وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَيَخْشَ اللَّهَ وَيَتَّقِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَائِزُونَ. It's simple. You get any verse in the Quran and it will revolve around these four qualities in the believer. The first, obeying Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and submitting to their rule. That's the first quality, important quality. First and second important quality, obeying Allah and His Prophet and submitting to their rule. وَيَخْشَ اللَّهِ, and he fears Allah. He fears the consequences of sinning, of his shortcomings, shortages. his heedlessness and carelessness. Because there are consequences for the sin, my dear brothers. And he fears Allah by adhering to his commands and keeping away from his prohibitions. By doing that which is pleasing to him, keeping away from that which is displeasing to him. They are the 4 characteristics of the believers who will pass in flying colors over this bridge. For subhanallah, contemplate, my dear brothers, and reflect over this important station, over this important phase of your life that you will face, that you will be tested with. And where will you be? Will you be amongst the successful or amongst those who fail? Will you be amongst the victorious or amongst those who are disgraced on that day? And subhanallah, look at what awaits for you after passing this test. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار ذلك الفوز الكبير. Those who believe, have the correct and sound belief, and do righteousness, they will have gardens wherein rivers will flow underneath them. That is the big success and true success. Look at what is awaiting for you. The Prophet ﷺ says that Allah the Almighty says, أعددت لعبادي ما لا عين رأت ولا أذن سمعت ولا خطر على قلب بشر. I have prepared for my slaves that which no eyesight has seen, no ear has heard, and no heart can comprehend. That is what is awaiting for you. And the Prophet ﷺ gives us another picture of what happens on that day. And I want you also to reflect and ponder over this amazing hadith, which should shake each and every one of us to the core. That is the hadith wherein the Prophet ﷺ compares an inmate of the hellfire, and he's not a normal inmate as we are going to hear, and an inmate of paradise, and he's also not a normal inmate of paradise. Listen carefully to this hadith. The Prophet ﷺ says, يؤتى بأنعم أهل الدنيا أنعم أهل الدنيا وهو من أهل النار يوم القيامة فيصبغ صبغة في النار ثم يخرج منها ويقال له يا عبد الله هل رأيت نعيما قط؟ هل مر بك نعيم قط؟ فيقول لا والله نسي قل ما أنعم الله به عليه في هذه الدنيا. ويؤتى بأشد الناس بؤسا من أهل الدنيا وهو من أهل الجنة فيغمس في الجنة غمسة ثم يخرج منها ويقال له يا عبد الله هل رأيت بؤسا قط؟ هل مر بك شدة قط؟ فيقول لا والله. Subhanallah. Prophet ﷺ informs us in this hadith, in this amazing hadith, that the most luxurious person on the face of this earth will be brought in front of Allah on the day of judgment. And he is one of the people of the hellfires. He's one of the dwellers of the hellfires. And he will be dipped one dip in the hellfire. This is the most luxurious person on earth. And it will be said to him, have you been through any comfort in your life? Have you seen any comfort in your life? Have you seen any good? Have you been through any luxury? And he will say, by Allah, I have not. And he lived on earth probably for 60, 70, 80, 90 years in luxury. Yet with one dip in the hellfire, he forgets every luxury that he went through. One dip. What? A dip in and out. What? A second or two. He forgets all the luxury. And the same thing, or the opposite, happens to the person who went through the most difficult, the most miserable life. But he was a pious person, even though he went through so many difficulties in his life. He will be brought forward and he's one of the inmates of paradise. And he will be dipped one dip in paradise. And it will be said to him, have you seen any difficulty in your life? Have you been through any miserableness in your life? Any hardships? SubhanAllah, that one dip makes him forget the world and what is in it. All the difficulties that he went through in the world. He will say, no, by Allah, I have not. Contemplate and reflect over this, my dear brothers. Of which category do you want to be amongst? Which type of person do you want to be on the Day of Judgment? Those who are truly successful, or those who are failures? For contemplate on this very, very important concept or definition of true success. And if you are not successful in this world, money-wise, position-wise, status-wise, that should not bother you as a believer. The most important thing is your relationship with your Lord. The most important thing is your religion. That is the most precious thing to you, your iman. And that is the true attainment of success. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst the successful in this world and in the next. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة ونعوذ بك من النار. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. In the name of Allah, and all praise is due to Allah. May the peace and blessings and prayers be upon His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My dear brothers, the believer should always, in all his state, day and night, think about this issue and work towards it. Forever, all his life, he should focus on this issue and work towards achieving true success by saving himself from the hellfire and attaining Allah's paradise. For indeed, that is the true success. And subhanallah, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions in one of the ways of attaining this true success is by always turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in supplication. Prophet taught us, ما من رجل مسلم يسأل الله الجنة ثلاثا إلا قالت الجنة اللهم أدخله الجنة. ولا استجار من النار ثلاثا إلا قالت النار اللهم أجره من النار. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة ونعوذ بك من النار. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل ونعوذ بك من النار. And if you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-Jannah, then ask Him the highest level in paradise. Ask Him al-Firdaus. Because the Prophet ﷺ says in the authentic hadith, فَإِذَا سَأَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ الْجَنَّةَ فَاسْأَلُوهُ الْفِرْدَوْسِ فَإِنَّهُ أَوْسَطُ الْجَنَّةِ وَأَعْلَى الْجَنَّةِ وَفَوْقَهَا عَرْشُ الرَّحْمَنِ. If you ask Allah paradise, then ask Him al-Firdaus in paradise. For indeed it is the highest level in paradise and the middle of paradise, and above it is the throne of the Almighty. فاللهم إنا نسألك الفردوس الأعلى من الجنة ونعوذ بك من النار. اللهم إنا نسألك الفردوس الأعلى من الجنة ونعوذ بك من النار. اللهم إنا نسألك الفردوس الأعلى من الجنة ونعوذ بك من النار. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين